Before we begin, know this. By the end of this journey, you won't just hear about 17th century Amsterdam. You'll feel as if you've walked its canals, stood in its markets, watched its ships arrive from the edge of the known world, and witnessed the very birth of modern finance. If you came here to see how a city rose from muddy riverbanks to become the richest and most powerful trading hub on Earth, you're in exactly the right place. This is Amsterdam in the 1600s, rebuilt, reimagined, and brought back to life. Welcome to an age when Amsterdam stood at the center of global trade, radiating wealth, ingenuity, and artistic brilliance. The 17th century, often called the Dutch Golden Age, transformed this canal-laced settlement into the most prosperous city in the world. For centuries, our understanding of this era has relied on engravings, paintings, and written descriptions. Still images of busy harbors, stern merchants, and narrow canal houses. But today, with the help of advanced artificial intelligence, those frozen impressions can be animated into vivid scenes. Streets once silent and sepia now echo with footsteps. Gulls cry above the docks, and the river moves again. We are not simply looking at history, we are stepping into it. Our journey begins just south of the city along the gentle banks of the Amstel River near Ouderkerk. It is the year 1622. The air is fresh, and the river glides calmly through the Kinu landscape. Families gather at the water's edge, children dart between reeds, and fishermen mend their nets with quiet concentration. Flat-bottomed boats drift by, carrying goods and people toward the city upstream. This river is more than scenery. It is Amsterdam's lifeline. Centuries earlier, a dam was built across the Amstel, giving the settlement both its name and its reason to exist. The Amstel became a watery highway linking inland farms and towns to the sea. Timber, grain, dairy, and peat floated northward, bound for the city's warehouses and markets. In the distance rises the tower of a village church, where many prosperous Amsterdam merchants would later choose to be buried, seeking a peaceful resting place outside the bustle of the city. Yet even in 1622, change is stirring. The quiet banks you see here will not remain pastoral for long. As Amsterdam's wealth multiplies, warehouses, docks, and defensive works will press outward, swallowing fields and reshaping the river's edge. Now we approach the outer defenses near the Haarlem Airport, the Haarlem Gate, massive earthen ramparts stretch outward in angular, star-shaped formations, bastions engineered to deflect cannon fire. The Dutch Republic is locked in the 80 Years' War against Spain, a brutal struggle for independence that has raged since 1568. Amsterdam, with its swelling coffers and strategic importance, is a tempting target. These walls are not decorative. They are a shield. Windmills rise along the ramparts, but they are not grinding grain. Their true purpose is far more essential: pumping water. Much of Amsterdam lies below sea level. Without constant drainage, fields would flood and streets would vanish beneath brackish tides. The Dutch have mastered the art of water management, reclaiming land from marsh and sea with dikes, canals, and relentless engineering. By the 1600s, the city's rapid expansion demands that its fortifications be rebuilt and extended again and again. Amsterdam grows in measured rings. 3 grand canals in particular define its new identity: the Herengracht, Keizersgracht, and Prinsengracht. These sweeping arcs form a canal belt that is not only defensive but visionary, an example of urban planning centuries ahead of its time. From the gate, we move toward one of the older harbor basins, where the St. Anthony's Gate stands watch. Here the atmosphere changes. Smaller vessels crowd the water barges heavy with grain, fishing boats returning from the Zuiderzee, canal boats loaded with timber from the Baltic. These are not the grand ocean-going ships that cross to Asia or the Americas. These are the workhorses of daily commerce. the vessels that keep the city fed and supplied. Amsterdam's genius lies not merely in its ships, but in its organization. Goods arriving from distant seas are swiftly transferred to canal boats, sorted, taxed, stored, and redistributed. Timber from Scandinavia, grain from the Baltic region, fish from nearby waters all flow through these basins with astonishing efficiency. The harbor hums with activity, yet it rarely descends into chaos. Order, standardization, and speed are the invisible engines of this city's success. Now we stand at the main harbor itself, where the scale of Amsterdam's ambition becomes undeniable. The forest of masts is staggering. Ships from every corner of the known world anchor here, their hulls heavy with cargo. Spices from Southeast Asia, silks from China, furs from Russia, sugar from Brazil, and timber from the north all converge on this watery crossroads. At the heart of this maritime empire stands the Dutch East India Company, known as the VOC. Founded in 1602, it becomes the world's first multinational corporation and the first to issue tradable shares to the public. At its height, it employs tens of thousands of people and commands a fleet that spans oceans. The harbor guardhouse ensures that ships comply with regulations and pay the required duties. Amsterdam may thrive on free enterprise, but it does not operate without structure. The balance between opportunity and oversight is deliberate and powerful. South along the Amstel, two sturdy blockhouses guard the river approach. Constructed in 1651, they serve both as military defenses and as customs posts. Tensions with England are rising. Within a year, the First Anglo-Dutch War will erupt. Yet even as rival powers challenge Dutch dominance at sea, trade continues. Boats pass steadily between the blockhouses, their cargo too valuable to delay. When winter descends, the river transforms. The Amstel freezes solid, and commerce yields briefly to celebration. Citizens of every class, wealthy merchants in fur-lined cloaks and laborers in simple wool lace-up skates and glide across the ice. What was once a channel of trade becomes a stage for festivals and games. The freeze slows business, but it fosters community. Amsterdam is not solely a machine of profit. It is a living city with rhythms shaped by nature. From the frozen river we move into the vibrant Newmarkt, dominated by the Waag. Originally part of the city's defenses, it was converted in 1617 into a public weighhouse and guild hall. This is where commerce becomes official. Cheese wheels, sacks of grain, spices, and precious metals are brought here to be weighed and certified. Accuracy is everything. Trust is currency. The upper floors host guild meetings, surgeons, masons, painters. It is within these walls that Rembrandt's famous anatomy lesson of Dr. Nicolaes Tulp is set. The square teems with market stalls, selling fish, vegetables, textiles, and imported luxuries. Canals beside the square carry boats laden with goods. Amsterdam's infrastructure extends beyond docks and ships to institutions. Merchant courts, a city bank facilitating international transactions, and regulatory bodies that maintain standards. This blend of entrepreneurial freedom and careful oversight gives Amsterdam its competitive edge. We continue along the elegant Cloveniersburgel Canal to the Grand Trippenhuis, completed in 1662. Its facade, adorned with 8 Corinthian columns, is unusually wide for Amsterdam, where taxes are assessed by canal frontage. The Tripp brothers, wealthy arms dealers during the 80 Years' War, spared no expense in announcing their success. Inside, marble halls gleam, ceilings shimmer with gilding, and priceless artworks line the walls. These canal houses are more than residences, they are declarations. Amsterdam's 17th century expansion is methodical, almost mathematical. Thousands of plots are laid out in precise rows along the canals. sold to merchants and regents who shaped the city's destiny. Living here signals elite status. It is from homes like these that portraits are commissioned from masters such as Rembrandt and Vermeer, capturing the confidence of a republic at its zenith. Nearby stands the Amsterdam Exchange, designed by Hendrik de Keyser and completed in 1611. Step into its courtyard and you witness something revolutionary. Merchants cluster in animated discussion, negotiating not only physical goods but financial instruments, shares, futures, bills of exchange. Here, modern finance takes shape. When the VOC issues shares in 1602, investors can trade them freely at the exchange. This liquidity transforms commerce. Capital flows more easily. Risk is distributed. Innovations such as short selling and options trading emerge. Speculation reaches a fever pitch during the tulip mania of 1637 when prices for rare bulbs soar to absurd heights before collapsing. Yet even this bubble demonstrates Amsterdam's central role in shaping financial history. By mid-century, it is the world's financial capital. At last, we arrive at Dam Square, the city's beating heart. Built upon the original dam across the Amstel, it serves as Amsterdam's civic stage. Markets crowd the open space. Announcements are proclaimed. Celebrations erupt. Occasionally, grim justice unfolds in public view. Dominating the square is the Grand Town Hall, completed in 1655 and later transformed into the Royal Palace. Within its vast halls, burgomasters and councillors govern with pragmatic efficiency. The Dutch Republic has no king. It is a confederation of provinces, and Amsterdam wields enormous influence through wealth. Merchants here may wear no crowns, but they command immense power. The population has surged from roughly 50,000 in 1600 to over 200,000 by mid-century. Sailors from distant colonies mingle with local craftsmen, foreign traders, clergy, and beggars. Languages blend in the air. Amsterdam's prosperity attracts diversity, making it one of Europe's largest and most dynamic cities. Finally, rising above the Western Canal Belt stands the Westerkerk. Completed in 1631, its tower the Westertoren reaches. 85 meters into the sky, the tallest structure in 17th century Amsterdam. Designed by Hendrik de Keyser, it embodies Dutch Renaissance elegance. The church reflects the city's Protestant identity after breaking from Catholic Spain. Its interior is restrained, focused on sermons and scripture rather than ornate decoration. Yet its presence is commanding. In 1669, Rembrandt van Rijn is buried within its walls. The artist who captured the faces, fortunes, and failures of this golden age rests beneath its stones, and so our tour draws to a close. From the tranquil banks of the Amstel to the roar of the Exchange, from icy winters to glittering canal mansions, Amsterdam in the 1600s stands revealed as a city of paradoxes, disciplined yet daring, pious yet profit-driven, small in geography, yet vast in influence. It rose from water and mud to become the marvel of its age, shaping global trade, finance, art, and engineering. What we have witnessed is not merely a collection of scenes, but the story of a city that altered the course of history. Through reconstruction and imagination, its streets live again. And as you leave this journey behind, remember, the canals still curve through modern Amsterdam, the towers still rise, and the echoes of that golden century still ripple across the world. If there is another city, another era you long to explore, let us know. The past is waiting, and we will see you there.